The outspoken Denver school board member who led the effort to remove police from schools now faces a potential censure from his colleagues. Ayante Anderson is currently under scrutiny from the board for talking about their confidential discussions here on Next, following the East High School shooting. School Board Vice President Ayante Anderson says Denver Mayor Michael Hancock essentially forced the school board to bring back school resource officers after the East High shooting. The flip-flop surprised many, and the mayor's office strongly denied being behind it. You said that the Denver School Board brought school resource officers back to DPS because Mayor Michael Hancock was going to force them in through an executive order. What can you tell us about that?
Those were the exact words of the superintendent prior to the executive session and were reiterated to the full board during that time.
Are you going to get sideways with the board or the law by talking about what happened in executive session?
This is the only thing I am able to really disclose into executive session, only because it was told to me prior to the beginning of the executive session.
That exchange appears to be part of a not yet public memo setting into motion a potential board censure against Anderson.
But today is just a day for us to close this chapter and be able to move forward together.
Anderson has been here before. In 2021, he became the first DPS board member believed to ever be censured when he was publicly scolded by his colleagues for social media flirtation with a 16-year-old girl while Anderson was serving on the school board. Anderson said the new allegations that he violated board policy are just the opinion of the board president, Sochi Gaitan. Anderson said that he looks forward to the full board considering this issue, which could happen as early as the meeting on April 10th. Cities across Colorado have found some success dispatching mental health clinicians alongside police officers on some calls. A school district thinks that the same approach might make kids safer. Our Mark Salinger shows us a new co-responder program in northern Colorado.
Answers to tough questions often come with new ideas.
Solutions to difficult problems are hard to find.
Inside Riverview School in Johnstown, Marianne Ramos Flynn is part of something different.
We aren't writing tickets. We're not taking students to jail. We are getting them connected with services on the spot.
Marianne is a clinical social worker.
Yeah.
She's one half of the Thompson School District's new co-responder program.
And I don't want to be responsible. I'm not trained to be responsible for someone's physical safety. He is.
Larimer County Deputy Brendan Solano is the other half.
Like, I can't provide a kid with therapy.
School resource officers with a badge and a gun aren't always the best equipped to respond to every call inside a school. Clinicians are now helping.
When people say a cop's been called out on them, it's usually for a crime. And usually the first thing that we said is, you got extra support called out to you because someone really cares for you.
In less than 6 months since the program started, the duo has responded to nearly 150 calls involving students in crisis or with mental health needs.
Definitely wish I could clone myself every single day.
Calls. Counselors like Lacey Smith and assistant principal Laurel Searing can't always help with.
So when the bell rings at the end of the day and we leave, there's only so far that the school can reach.
The co-responder team has the power to put people in mental health holds and refer students to therapy. Lacey can't do that, even if she knows a student needs it.
And I have to put the caveat in there, like, as a school district employee, I cannot recommend or suggest this to you, even though I'm highly encouraging it.
My job is always to divert students from hospitals or from receiving a legal charge, and people need to trust that I can do that.
Help now comes quick with a potential solution to one of our most pressing problems.
I don't know if we can say that our program can or can't prevent anything from happening. And all I know is what our program is doing now, which is just connecting students with resources and providing on-site crisis support.
The most important thing the administrators at this pre-K through 8th grade school found is that the program is proactive. Instead of a school resource officer responding when something is wrong, the deputy and clinician are involved in kids' daily lives, even checking up with them outside of school sometimes at their homes. The goal is to get them treatment before it becomes a larger problem.
I know one of the other concerns that's been out there about SROs is that kids might be identified as potentially snitching on a classmate if they're seen talking with an SRO all the time.
Yeah, the principal or the vice principal there told me that sometimes kids will just look at police officers and say, oh, that kid's in trouble because they're talking to him. This is changing that because the clinician there, and now kids are saying, well, they're getting the help they need.
Interesting. Mark, thank you. Thousands of parents in Colorado will have to wait until April 26th to find out where their kids are going to go to preschool next year. The state says it needs even more time to work out the kinks in the rollout of the new universal pre-K program. That means the parents will have less time to plan for next school year.
private preschools are filling up for the fall. They're requiring non-refundable deposits, and the ability of parents to plan has been, I think, severely impacted by this delayed timeline.
Gina Canans lives in Evergreen. She's one of almost 30,000 parents who applied for the first year of Colorado's universal pre-K, which will provide at least 15 hours a week of instruction time for 4-year-olds. Gina and her family applied in January and ranked their preferred schools for the next year. She chose not to re-enroll her daughter in private preschool because she was counting on the universal pre-K slot. While she waits, she's watching the seats fill up at the private preschool. The state was originally supposed to notify parents which school they were matched to in February. Deadline's been moved twice. The state says that 94% of students have been matched to a school, most to their first choice school. But the state says that they need more time to work with providers to go through the remaining 5% of families who did not match and to sort out issues with applications.
We do believe that there are some children and some families that either didn't understand what they were applying to, or they got confused with the application, and we had to now figure out how to clean it up.
The state says the extension also gives them more time to figure out funding. They said that they're confident they're going to be able to fund the 15 hours of pre-K a week for all students in the program, but they're not sure how many students there will be funding for to do the additional financial assistance, up to 30 hours a week. That process begins mid-April. We know that food is community, right? It's one thing that binds us together. A nonprofit in the metro area sees its work, providing food to people who need it, as a way to build community at the same time. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Kaizen Food Rescue. Their multi-purpose mission is to prevent food from going to waste, to get that food into communities that need it, and to create events that bring neighbors together around a meal or a special holiday. They focus on communities of color, sometimes immigrant and refugee communities. Whether it's hunger among elders, or summer meals for kids who rely on getting food at school, or creating small gardens at farms that communities can then sustain for themselves, Kaizen is doing a lot without a lot of funding. Sometimes that means that they are going out of their way or dipping into their own funds to bring in food items that mean a great deal to communities, items that are not usually found at food banks. And their work is about carefully listening to communities that might not otherwise ask for help. Like when a local priest approached them recently with the concern that inflation's impact on grocery prices means that some of his elderly Vietnamese parishioners have been buying cat food instead of food. Kaizen Food Rescue came to the aid of that particular community, as it has come to the aid of so many others through its pop-up food distributions. Here one week, there another place. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. As always, I'll get us started by matching the first 50 donations of $5. Kaizen Food Rescue got the equivalent of 250,000 meals out to our neighbors in the month of February. And they've got deep roots in our community to know where that food is needed most. Some of the biggest names in music are coming to Colorado and calling out a state law they blame for driving up ticket prices.
As a Coloradoan, I'm sad, but I sure do love those bands.
And an ag writer has discovered what brings all the readers to the farmyard. That's next. The fine print really racks up the cost of a ticket, like to an Avs game, concert. The service fee, the ticketing charge. Well, the state legislature is working on a bill, not to get rid of those charges, but to make them more obvious. The legislature is not addressing an issue that caught the attention of some of the biggest names in music. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
Ball Arena will host several concerts over the next few months, from John Mayer to Blink-182 and Madonna, and then in November, Queen and Adam Lambert. Those tickets go on sale Friday, with a warning from the artists about wanting the fans who buy the tickets to go to the concert or resell them at face value. Here's the warning. Unfortunately, the states of New York, Illinois, and Colorado have laws in place which protect ticket scalpers. These laws prohibit artists from being able to restrict the transfer of their tickets to face value exchanges only.
I think a lot of people are surprised that this actually doesn't exist in other states, including myself as I'm delving into all this ticketing world.
Democratic State Representative Mandy Lindsay is one of the sponsors of a bill called Consumer Protection in Event Ticketing Sales. It deals with bots, computer programs snatching up tickets. It requires added fees to be shown up front. It does not prevent people from selling tickets at higher than face value.
We passed a law here in 2008 that doesn't allow for prohibitions on ticket transferability.
That 2008 law is the most law-sounding law I've seen in a while. It is void against public policy. I'll just simplify this. If you buy a ticket to a concert or sporting event, you are not bound by any requirement by the venue, artist, or team. You are free to do what you want with the tickets. When The Cure announced a tour stop at Fiddler's Green, the group posted on Instagram this month saying tickets for this tour will not be transferable, but if something comes up, a fan will be able to resell it on a face value ticket exchange. Then that same warning. The states of New York, Illinois, and Colorado make this very difficult with laws in place that protect scalpers.
I think they have the right to sell tickets, to set prices as they wish. It is something that I would absolutely explore for the future. But yeah, unfortunately, not this year, not in this bill.
So what do other states have that Colorado does not? Both The Cure and Queen stop in Massachusetts, where state law there limits the sale of a ticket to $2 above face value, except when the added cost is a service charge. Washington has a law, best as I could see, that tries to prevent bots. California, where both groups are going to go, also has a law that deals with not being able to sell over face value while on the grounds of the venue, which I know Colorado had prior to 2008. You couldn't stand at Mile High or Coors on the property, scalping.
Just off.
Yeah, but you could do it on your phone at the time, and that's where I think that 2008 law came from.
Okay. People care about this stuff deeply. They really do, because there's a feeling that tickets have become just something that it's just astronomical at this point.
You want the ticket, you want it to be face value. You own the ticket, you're trying to get top dollar for it.
It's a business enterprise. All right, Marshall, thank you.
Clouds starting to roll in on this Wednesday evening. You can see maybe a little sliver of blue. Otherwise, across the state, those clouds starting to stream in ahead of our next storm. We still have about another 24 hours to go before it fully pushes into Colorado, but right now impacting much of the west, ushering in heavy rains and incredibly heavy snowfall yet again up there in California. High pressure is around, but as the storm system chugs closer into Colorado, it'll kick up the winds dramatically around here and also help to warm us up, but just for a day. We do have high fire danger off to far southeastern Colorado tomorrow with that red flag warning in place for much of the afternoon. Wind gusts even around the Denver metro area, upwards of 55 miles per hour, and that's going to continue again 11 o'clock in the morning. That is what we're looking at right now in and around the western suburbs, 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. And as the afternoon wears on, those stronger winds will start to push back in here to the city and then up into the foothills, 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts coming your way. 60s and 70s on deck tomorrow. We have the heat, we have the strong winds, and then we await this next storm system. Right now, it looks like about lunchtime tomorrow, it starts moving into the high country, and that's pretty much where it stays. We do have advisories, watches, and warnings that will go into effect tomorrow. Overall, about 5 to 10 inches of new snow. Hey, as that system clears out, the weekend arrives, and that means highs back in the 60s with plenty of sunshine.
Next, we look into a social media beef. A Colorado rancher's hashtag #cowbios invites you to meet your meat. Next. Rancher and writer out near Wiggins was trying to come up with ways to make farm life more relatable to those of us who sleep by the glow of streetlights. Then she realized she had real star power out in the pasture. Aaron Herbst has the story.
Gonna back up and then put that down.
The best tour guides educate.
Yeah, this many black bulls.
And entertain.
There's a tear in my beer.
T is Rachel Gable's son.
It's everything you think it is.
He's the guy who knows what's up at Gable Farms near Wiggins.
That's all the bulls we have.
The Gables have a few hundred cows.
Velociraptors, all of them.
About 50 goats. And one 4-year-old.
Come here, little girl.
And while it would be hard to stop taking pictures of this kid, it's a kid like this.
Some people call them nannies, I call them does.
Okay, fine, Rachel. A doe. That led to this.
And her little bottom teeth were sticking out.
She snapped a pic and got creative.
So Linda, she's a divorcee and a good bowler. #glamourgoat.
People noticed the goat bio.
And her only filter is the one on her Virginia Slim.
Which quickly morphed into #cowbios.
This is Marge. She may work in HR by day, but by night, she's the life of the party. At least 150 likes. Well, I am an ag journalist.
Her news articles don't get quite as much attention.
Crossing the state's rural-urban divide, 11, 12, 13, and one of them's my mom. It's fine. I mean, if they come to my page to look for cow bios, they might see some of the coverage on wolves or any of the other really important things that I write. I think this 0303 is looking pretty good. She kind of looks like I feel. Woo! Woo! Hey, hey!
She's written a bio every day for the past few months.
This is Kathy. If March were a woman, this would be her. They all have something that you can relate to.
The bios might feel silly.
Okay, so Carol has been filling in her eyebrows. Thanks for noticing.
But the thought behind it is more serious.
You know, we talk so much, and it drives me crazy about the rural-urban divide, and the differences aren't that stark. And
country or city, kids are kids.
Hey, don't step on my butt.
Women are women.
I'm a pretty good spokesmodel for muck boots.
And words are powerful.
She's dreaming of the days of beer and barbecue.
Including the bovine kind.
Light a candle for her, girls.
Hashtag cow bios apparently does pretty well on Facebook, not so much Instagram. Rachel tends to be an early morning poster. If you want to look for her stuff, she'll do that as soon as chores are done. Today it is the return of nature's hottest drama as the nest turns. So the Stanley Lake Eagles are on hiatus this week, but we bring you drama out of Boulder County. Home invaders taking over the nest of some ospreys who are away for the season. Boulder County Open Space has been keeping an eye on 2 Canada geese who made themselves at home and laid eggs in the osprey nest that they watch. Yesterday, the ospreys came back and reclaimed their home. They puttered around a bit with some sticks, perhaps they cleaned out the goose poop, and they have re-roosted in their old home. At some point, though, the osprey are going to realize that they are sitting on a literal goose egg. If that thing hatches, then our drama becomes a sitcom, so stay tuned. Your feedback is next. Kaizen Food Rescue knows that food does more than fill stomachs. It warms hearts, it brings people together. So their work across the metro area seeks to reduce food waste by getting food to people who will be grateful to have it. And they build community events around this. Kaizen also runs pop-up food pantries with a schedule that takes them from one neighborhood to another. They also prepare summer meals for students who usually eat at school. And they're building gardens and small farms around the metro area so that communities can feed themselves. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of others in donating to Kaizen Food Rescue. In feedback tonight, David says, how will the mayoral winner be determined on Tuesday? It won't. So almost certainly, David, with 16 people on the ballot, it's going to go to a runoff because nobody's going to get 50%. So all we're going to find out next week is who are the top 2 mayoral contenders. Then it goes to a runoff. So that is what folks are likely voting for at this point. G writes in to note accurately that the FDA approved over-the-counter Narcan today. G said you could save lives by doing a segment about this and where to find it in Denver. We've talked about this before, the life-saving power of Narcan and how so many people, from school teachers to clergy to firefighters, are carrying Narcan these days. Not everybody loved that segment, as evidenced by Brian, who wrote in to say, Narcan boy, you are Antifa. Brian, my friend, talk radio is rotting your brain. I will see you next time.